All right, guys, welcome to our first ever AV Club meeting. It's great to see you. I hope you're all doing super great. Welcome to the movie theater. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for those offline resubs and the new subs and resubs from a little bit earlier. So big thank you to E-Nice from a couple days ago. I saw that you did a resub, although you just popped it here too. So I did see it. So GG's, congratulations, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And also the big thanks to J-Man for the new sub, for Laney for the resub, Void of Self for his 5-month resub. Thank you so very, very much. And Pandasaurus, aka E-Nice, thank you so much for the resub. I appreciate you. So very much. And Zombie, thank you so much for the resub as well. Guys, thank you for the love. I am back. I have survived 1 week of being a dad. We did it. It's been crazy. It's been very crazy. The missus is actually with baby Logan right now. He's doing so great. We shared a couple pictures in Discord, so if you aren't in Discord, get in there. What are you doing? You should totally check it out. You totally forgot to watch Back to the Future. No worries, good names. It's all good. The plan tonight, guys, we're going to have our inaugural AV Club. It's going to be a roundtable discussion. We're going to have 3 guests with us today. We'll get into who is with us this evening in just a couple moments, but it's good to see you. Papa and Mama McFly are obviously awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. It only gets worse from here. Right? So, the plan, we're going to do that. We're going to break down Back to the Future and discuss it as a group. And then after that, a Pandasaurus with those 25 bits. Dude, thank you so much filling up that cup. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Now, you guys may notice that the alerts are turned off. The plan is that what we're going to do is we're going to save this, break it out, and then post it later. So if people want to check it out and they miss it, they can get a chance to watch it on their own. That way it'll be on the channel, and then we can kind of build up a kind of like a mini library of stuff like that. So that's the plan. We're going to do this for, this will be a monthly recurring thing. And so what we're going to do, as I get started, I'll start with the title screen again, and then we'll do like a formal introduction, and we'll get started. It'll be kind of, we're going to treat it as kind of a podcast. So as things are going on, I may not be engaging and reading with chat as much. It's going to be more so kind of a discussion with the guys here. And then at the end, we'll kind of discuss it and take questions and comments from everybody at the end. And then when we're done, we will switch over to Alien Isolation for the beginning of our spooky stream, because even though we're not going to be streaming on Halloween, this will be the beginning of our spooky, and I think we'll maybe get a chance to finish it on Wednesday, so that's kind of the plan. Good to see you, Peachy. We're doing great, getting ready to get started with AV Club. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and get us rolling, and we'll also have some fun and check out everything. It's great. I love you. Thank you. I may be a little rusty. It's been a week. I've also been trying to be a dad. It's been intense, but I think I've been doing okay. Mrs. McFly has been awesome to me. So hang on, dudes. Here we go. Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching it. Welcome to the Hill Valley AV Club, the inaugural first episode ever. It's good to see you. My name is Captain McFly. Tonight we're going to be checking out one of my favorite movies of all time, Back to the Future. Now the plan for this show is it's going to be a monthly podcast roundtable style segment on our stream. We are primarily a video game stream. We do Destiny. We also do some variety occasionally. We did stream with my wife on Saturday mornings, but we just had a baby, so that's going to be kind of on hiatus for a little bit. But we're still going to stream Saturday mornings, but she may be kind of taking some breaks for a little bit because we need someone to be watching the little guy at all times because he's a wee baby. So, but the plan though is tonight we're going to talk about Back to the Future. We're also going to talk about other things we've been watching as well, other TV shows, other films, things that we've been revisiting or new things that we've seen. And then after that, we'll move into our main discussion of Back to the Future, one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. So Anyways, here we go. So joining me today, we have 3 guests today. We have, I guess we'll kind of just go in order. So we'll go, I guess we'll go from the bottom up. So I guess what we'll have you guys do is you'll introduce yourself, and we'll just go like hi, I'm so and so, and then we'll just kind of go down the line. So we'll start with S Jones, then Ruby, and then Panda.
All right. Hi, I'm S Jones.
And then next we also have is Ruby.
Hey, that's me.
And then we also have Pandasaurus, aka Mr. E-Nice.
Hey, this is Pandasaurus, aka E-Nice.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for joining. And today we are going to be obviously talking about Back to the Future. But before we talk about that, what have you guys been watching besides, obviously, the greatest movie, Back to the Future? What have you guys been watching?
Well, earlier today, I actually saw a movie on Netflix that was, it was about there's this comedy band I like. They're comedians, obviously, but
would it happen to be Flight of the Conchords?
No.
Oh,
it is not. They're called Garfunkel and Oates.
I have heard of Garfunkel and Oates.
Yes, and they they're not kid friendly.
Okay.
But but it was them. They were trying to. They did a fundraiser where they were making money to have their own comedy special, because comedy specials are really, really, really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sang like their entire soundtrack, and it was basically the comedy special was exactly what that was. And but at the end, instead of it being like, oh yeah, we made enough money to get the special, they did, but they had to turn that money in because they had ended up they didn't know it didn't come with it, but they decided to use mercury to fill up the thermometer.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So they had to spend all the money they made for the comedy show on mercury.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
That is awesome. S Jones, what have you been watching?
Other than Stranger Things 2?
Have you finished Stranger Things 2?
All 9 hours, sat straight through.
That is amazing. I've gotten through. We just finished episode 8, so we've got one more.
No, other than that, I've been watching Suits like nonstop.
Oh, I've never gotten into Suits. Like, I've never tried it. I mean, if you were to compare it to like other like TV show comedies, is it kind of like The Office, or is it kind of like?
It's like a comedy drama kind of show. It's by the same network that does Mr. Robot.
Oh,
okay. So it's pretty good.
I mean,
I like it because it's kind of a different take on a law series.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy it, and Harvey Specter's my man.
Nice.
So
awesome. I'll maybe try to check it out, because I've been having a lot of late nights, especially recently too, with watching the little guy and just watching TV and movies just to kind of fill the time. So I have a feeling there's a website that I use. It's called letterboxd.com. It's a LETTERBOXD, and it's kind of like it's an online film diary. And so, I mean, if you want to, you can rate movies that you watch, but also you can just use it to kind of just keep track or make lists. Usually at the end of the year, I make like a top 10 of these are my favorite movies that I saw like this year that were new for that year.
So like Goodreads for movies.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's the only comparison I can draw.
Right. But yeah, so awesome. So it sounds like Suits is a pretty decent show to maybe check out.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
What about you, Panda? What have you been up to?
I have yet to watch Stranger Things, but it's on the to-do list.
Shame.
My wife has seen all of it already, but I have
Whoa,
not.
she watched it all without you?
I just couldn't.
Oh,
Betrayal.
Man. Mrs. Panda.
Betrayal.
Big betrayal. See, like, with us, I mean, Mrs. McFly kind of did give me the go-ahead, saying, like, yeah, if you want to watch an episode while I'm asleep, just let me know how far you get and I'll catch up. It's like, I can't do that, because
No, I
I
gave
know
her
if
the
she did
okay.
the same thing, I'd be so grumpy.
No, I
It's a
gave her
trap.
okay. It's okay.
It's a trap.
I was playing video games while she was watching it, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So what have you been watching then, since you haven't seen Stranger Things?
All of my shows are actually coming back online, so I'm just watching Gotham, watching Arrow, The Flash. Let's see, Hawaii Five-O.
Nice. I liked Hawaii Five-O.
Yeah, Hawaii Five-O is actually pretty fun. All the Marvel shows.
Like all
The
the
new-
Netflix ones, or like
Yeah,
Agents
all the
of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Netflix ones. Netflix, yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is also part of that Marvel universe.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Well, one of the new things I watched was Santa Clara's Diet, which was pretty funny. It's another Netflix show.
Oh, that one's good.
Yeah, I've seen that one as
Honestly?
well. I thought it was pretty funny.
Real
Yeah.
talk here, though. All the Netflix shows are good.
It is true. There are a few that
I have
are
not
not
seen a-
good.
I
Yeah,
have
there's a
not
few that are
seen-
weird.
Yeah, I've not seen a single Netflix show that I hadn't enjoyed, at least by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
They
I
all
mean-
have their moments.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even I've gotten really used to, I mean, the Marvel Netflix shows, like in terms of those, I tend to prefer those over the ABC produced ones and things like that.
Yeah.
I tend to kind
Yeah,
of
because they
gravitate
can
more
do more,
towards those.
though.
Right. I mean, you can show
Yeah.
maybe a little more violence or something like that. Like even with Daredevil, I liked it before he got the costume. And not gonna lie, I wish he never got the costume, because I would have preferred just him to just stay with the blindfold and just like a normal jumper or whatever.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
that would have been
That would
a
have
little
been
bit
an,
cooler.
yeah.
But that's just, I don't know, just a fan's opinion. I've been watching a lot of stuff lately. So we'll just kind of go down the list a little bit since the little man was born. We have been doing Stranger Things, obviously, but also I revisited Doctor Strange, Kubo and the Two Strings, which I think is a very underrated animated
That was
movie.
a good one.
Mhm.
I have
Not
to
even
watch
really-
liked that.
It's very good. If you enjoy stop motion, this will kind of test your perception of stop motion. It is the most smooth I've ever seen. It's done incredibly well.
You'd think it was just an animated movie.
Right. And I remember showing it to my wife for the first time, and I can't remember if I told her it was or not, but my brother-in-law came down to visit for this weekend, and we were finishing it when they arrived to come visit us and our newborn, and he was like, "Oh, this is so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, and it's all stop motion." And he couldn't believe it. He thought it was just that I was making it up. It's like, no, man, it's cool. Just wait till the end credits. Because that's one thing that's nice about Leica is the company that produces, they did Kubo, but they also did Coraline and Paranorman. And
yeah,
I love
Wasn't
in
it
the
DreamWorks?
they do a lot of stop motion.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're distributed or owned by DreamWorks, but to my understanding, Leica is on their own. DreamWorks might be their distributor, though.
Oh, okay.
Not 100%. But what's nice, though, is during the end credits, they will have a brief segment of showing the puppeteers going through the motions of either animating a character or animating a like a certain piece of either the set or a scene. And it'll start in real time for us, like us as people, and then it'll slowly ramp up and speed up, and you'll see it catch up to actual movie time. So eventually, you know, the guy's like moving lightning fast to make all these very subtle itty bitty changes to ultimately have, you know, just, you know, what looks like natural movement, but it's, you know, so many micro changes to make it happen, even from like clothes flapping to hair flapping. It's really incredible. And
Yeah.
Kubo's, I think their best technological achievement or best technical achievement in this vein. And if you haven't seen it, just for the appreciation of the effort that they put in, I highly recommend it. I think it's great. And then Tucker and Dale versus Evil was another one I revisited.
Oh, that was a good one.
It is.
Love that one.
Yeah, it's such a gem. Mrs. McFly, I think, suggested it one night, I think last Halloween. Neither of us had seen it before. And I just had her see Cabin in the Woods, I think, for the first time. And we were looking for...
Excellent.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods is also fantastic. And so we were looking for something that, was maybe a little bit funny, but still kind of fit within the time of the year. And Tucker and Dale is so great. It has, like, a lot of tropes of, like, Evil Dead or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's these two country bumpkins that are just, a little bit simple, I guess a way to put them. They're not the brightest stars in the sky, and it's these college kids that just, think that they're out to kill them or are looking at them funny, but they're just uncomfortable and don't know how to act, and so they just stare at him like,
I love it.
And he's holding like a scythe or like a heavy hammer or like a machete, and they're just staring at these kids, and of course they're freaked out. And it kind of goes from there. It's great. Alan Tudyk is in it. He's been in Firefly. He was the voice of K2SO and
Alan
Rogue
Tudyk
One.
is... Love him.
Yeah, he's fantastic, and also from Dallas, which is kind of fun. So he's kind of a local guy.
I got pumpkin guts on my arm.
Nice.
Carving pumpkin earlier.
Nice. Another thing that I saw too is a Netflix documentary called Chasing Coral. It's pretty cool. It's a Netflix original produced piece of content. So it's about kind of global warming and the effects that are kind of happening with coral and what that means. And, seeing coral bleaching and what's causing that. But what kind of motivated me to see it was more so I just wanted to see really pretty pictures in 4K. That's what I wanted. So I was like, I just want to see pretty things. And I turned into this really, because high quality ocean footage tends to look really nice. And so I just wanted to watch that. And it turned into something that was, I came away from happy that I saw it. Just kind of understanding, just raising the water temperature by 2 degrees is enough to stress out the coral and kill it. And we lost, I think, in the last year, 30% of the Great Barrier Reef. And
30% of it?
30%. Wow. And so just hearing stuff like that, it's like, wow, that's incredibly shocking. And so, if you're looking for, kind of a cool documentary to check out, if you have Netflix, I'd recommend it. It's great. Visually, it's gorgeous. It's very well shot. It's a well-paced documentary. You don't feel like you're snoozing and, wanting to jam a pencil in your nose. It's... you see some very cool visuals from, the Florida Keys to the Caribbean to obviously Australia, and just what these guys do to kind of try to show a way to document the change and also be able to, inform you to give you an idea of what's going on. And I think they did a fantastic job. So that's Chasing Coral, and definitely worth a watch.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a very well done piece of content. So now, I guess we'll kind of get into the real discussion, which is, of course, Back to the Future. Now, many of you guys know, most people here know, at least within our community, that I like Back to the Future just a little bit, just a wee bit.
Just tiny.
I think it's a pretty cool movie. I think it's pretty great. I've got like a whole shrine to Back to the Future stuff, like over in the corner of my room or in the corner of my office.
That's not something you usually tell people.
I know. It's like, hey, I have a bunch of these things from a movie that was made before I was born, and I think it's the greatest thing ever. But I guess we'll kind of start off. I guess let me know, when was the first, since it's a movie that came out in the 80s. So if you can let me know, when did you guys see Back to the Future for the first time? How old were you? Where were you? Did you see it in a movie theater? Did you see it at home?
Goodness.
So wait, who's going first?
We'll go S Jones, then Ruby, and then Panda.
Okay. Honestly, I can't remember the first time I've actually seen it.
Oh, okay.
I it was probably when I was older,
Mm-hmm.
obviously old enough to remember it,
Sure.
and
So obviously you saw it at home.
yeah, at home. I just remember thinking. I think I remember actually thinking that Michael J. Fox actually sang in the movie. Like that was actually him, and he was playing the guitar. So it took me,
Yes.
a little while to figure out that actually wasn't him.
Well, he actually did learn how to play guitar for the role, though,
Yeah,
which
he
I thought
did.
was pretty
Okay.
cool. Yeah, so that's actually him playing guitar.
Wait,
Oh, all right,
no, that's
wow.
not him playing the guitar, but he is doing all the finger movements. I think they had a musician come
Right.
in.
Yeah, they
and
actually
teach him
dubbed in the
everything.
music, but he learned how to finger along and basically strum and appropriately be able to play the guitar. So it actually looks like he's doing it. But yeah, they didn't use the source audio for that.
Yeah, like, and to this day, that's still like my favorite part of the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Oh, at the for the dance.
For the dance, and I think it's just because any scene that really like has to do with music, like in any movie or TV show,
Mm-hmm.
like is automatically my favorite scene because I'm just so drawn to like music and entertainment. So
Right. And it's one of those things too, like when he kind of travels back in time for the first time, I find the 50s just to be so interesting. It's a beautiful time in the sense that it's everything just it looks almost otherworldly because it's so different in terms of like architectural aesthetics and whether it's with vehicles or buildings, Art Deco and things like that. It's very intriguing to me. It almost seems otherworldly or like of another time. And I've even told my wife, like, if I could kind of go back in time, I'd either like to do the 40s, but I kind of would want to do the 50s just to kind of avoid the whole war part and just get to the hanging out part. I just find it so interesting. I thought the cars were cool of that time, and the idea of like soda shops and diners is just even though we have those today, it's different. I mean, back then there was still. I mean, obviously with Marty's mom, people maybe aren't the most innocent thing in the world, but but still, like there's a simpler time. There's a sense of innocence still there, and so I don't know. I always found it pretty cool, but I agree, S. Jones, that music of that time I still find to be, it's very cool. I like it. I think it's very very awesome.
I did definitely grow up with like all the quote unquote oldies then. So
Right. So Ruby, when was the first time you saw Back to the Future?
That's actually a really, really funny story. So the first time I actually saw Back to the Future was probably 1 or 2 months before I actually came across your Twitch.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
so you saw it for the first time fairly recently then.
Oh yeah, fairly recently.
Okay.
But the only reason I actually ever really decided to watch it is because I walked out of my room sometime during the day. I forget when it was. It must have been a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw my sister watching Back to the Future 3, I believe it was.
Okay.
And I didn't know at the time that there were three different movies. So I'm like, "Oh, hey, what you watching?" Because I ask her that anyway. Anytime I'm out there.
Sure.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm watching Back to the Future 3." I'm like, "What happened to the other two?" And she says, "I already watched them." And so I'm like, "Oh, okay, well." Then, like, I think it was probably the next time my family went out, I decided to stay home and watch Back to the Future for the first time.
Very nice.
It was pretty cool.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, Panda, what was the first time you saw it?
First time I saw it was probably in elementary. I was probably still in elementary school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, probably watched, and it was a rerun. But interesting fact, it was probably in Spanish.
Ah, okay.
Because yeah, my parents love to watch like daytime Spanish movies, and they would just dub all the movies in Spanish. It is the funniest thing ever because the
Oh my
translations are
gosh.
so bad.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a
Oh,
bad
my
kung fu movie
God.
where they're just like moving their mouth all over the place. It's just out of sync.
Yes,
That is the
yes.
best.
But yeah, it was real interesting. I saw it again in English like a few months afterwards,
Mhm.
but I haven't seen it since. So it's been a while.
Got it. Okay. So, obviously, I mean, if it's not obvious, we're going to be going into definitely spoilers for Back to the Future. So if you haven't seen it,
Leave.
you either leave or maybe come back in maybe about a half hour or something. I mean, we're going to be talking about it for a while and discussing the movie in detail. So you've been warned. Sorry. So I guess we'll kind of go do like the little round table as well, or I guess I can discuss when I saw it for the first time too. I grew up seeing it with my dad. I was maybe like 6 or 7 years old, and my dad bought the trilogy on VHS. For those who don't know, that's a tape. It's before DVDs, before Blu-rays,
It's the big
digital.
brick thing.
It is one of the
It's
worst.
Formats
It's
ever.
strange to think about how like some people might legitimately not know what VHS is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Been there,
it's
done
weird to
that.
think about.
Having to adjust your VCR for tracking because the tape gets a little off the wheels. I mean, it's a sad thing to say that it's also probably one of the worst mediums ever for viewing anything. It's VHS is pretty crappy, and so because it just breaks so easily. It
What's the
tears.
res on that?
Yeah.
What's the resolution on it?
Oh, for VHS, I think it's like 260 or 360p.
Yeah, it would have to be something like that.
It's
hard.
awfully bad, and 4:3, so it's not even widescreen. It's bad. Yeah, VHS is awful. I do not recommend it, but that's the first time I saw Back to the Future, and it was one of my dad's favorite movies when he was a kid, and it became one of those things that I associated with my dad. And he would come home and from work, and we'd sit down in front of the TV. He'd lay on the floor with me and get pillows. We'd prop him up, or I'd lay on his stomach, and we'd start the movie. And he'd inevitably pass out, and I'd be, sitting in front of the TV by the end because I just thought it was so cool. It's this guy, this kid. Obviously older than me at the time, but to me, Marty McFly was a kid. And this is just going to kind of lead into us talking about the film at this point. But what makes it so cool is that it is this just normal dude that, loves rock and roll and music. And he just kind of has this cool friend, Doc Brown, who's kind of, they're kind of like Batman and Robin, or honestly, the most modern parallel is going to be Rick and Morty, except Morty in Marty's sense is a little bit more capable, I guess. But that's also part of this movie is also part of the reason why I like Rick and Morty so much. It's oddly similar, and I mean, you cannot deny it's inspired from Back to the Future.
Oh,
but,
it is.
But yeah, Marty is this guy though that is just this normal high school kid that he's got a girlfriend, and but also he's kind of unsure of himself at the same time. And I was one of those kids growing up where I was never really fully sure of myself. I second guessed myself on things all the time, and I still do as an adult. But he would, he played in a band, and he would always, his girlfriend would say, you need to set in your demo tape, and I don't know if I'm any good, and things like that. And but also as I kind of got older, it became an interesting thing and a very introspective look at, what if you could go back in time and see your mom and dad when they first met, or when they were your age?
I'd probably cry.
Yeah, would you cry? I mean, but it's one of those things too. Would you have been friends with your mom and dad at that time? Would you even had friends in the same circle? And you know, the idea of time travel as a kid sounds amazing and so cool and unique. And would you, I mean, if you could do that, I mean, what would that experience be like? And that's part of the things that's so intriguing about it. And I mean, I guess S. Jones or Ruby, I mean, if you guys could go back in time and if you saw your mom and dad, I mean, what would you think if you saw them when they were like your age in high school?
I just
Oh,
I honestly couldn't tell you that because I mean, I've seen some pictures of them from when they were in high school, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can kind of imagine what it looked like around back then. But like I can't imagine actually going back and meeting them. I feel like I'd just be kind of like too freaked out to move or do anything.
Right. You don't want to upset the space-time continuum, so you're not going to mess with them at all.
Right.
Makes sense. How about you, S. Jones? Would you want to approach them right away? Would you be afraid they would approach you?
I don't know. I've heard stories about my parents growing up, and my mom, she told me like in high school and stuff, she got called Sandra D because she was such a goody goody.
Oh, yeah?
So that was her nickname.
Yes.
And my dad, you know, I don't think he was quite so goody goody.
Mhm.
I think he did wrestling in high school, and he was a scrawny thing too. So I think for me, if I knew it was my parents, I'd probably not want to talk to them because it'd just be really weird. And I think if I didn't know, I still wouldn't talk to them because I'm not the person to go up and start talking to people I don't know anything. So
That's awesome.
I think either way, I probably wouldn't say a word.
Right.
Like, okay.
I don't think I'd talk to anyone with a mullet. Like, I'll be honest. If I met someone with a mullet, I probably wouldn't talk to them.
I would probably walk behind him and just cut it. And just
cut it.
Just go ahead and, it's like, I'm doing you a
Walk
favor,
around
Chief.
scissors.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Doing you a big ol' solid. So I guess one of the things that, you know, is unique to Back to the Future as well is using a DeLorean as a time machine. Yeah. So, I mean, we have, obviously, there's other, like, special iconic vehicles in movies. You know, you have, like, the Millennium Falcon or the TARDIS or the USS Enterprise. The DeLorean, to me, is one of the most iconic cars or just vehicles in a movie. I mean, would you guys agree, disagree? I mean, I think it's one of the most iconic.
I think it's definitely iconic. I don't know necessarily the most iconic because if you wouldn't know it just by seeing it, like, oh hey, that's one of those cars that that was in Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I do think it's definitely iconic for time travel-esque movies for sure.
I think it's very iconic, but it's between that and Kit from Knight Rider. It's like those are the two famous cars that you see. Even though DeLoreans were horrible at the time in real life.
Oh, they were garbage.
They're
a terrible
the worst car ever.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow it made it into this movie.
Yeah. Fun fact. The original script, they didn't call for a DeLorean for like the original vehicle. They were actually debating on using a refrigerator.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
A refrigerator?
Yes.
Yeah, refrigerator.
Mm-hmm. Not a vehicle at all. So just like a box. So
I'm just trying to think about how that would like. Oh, you know what? That wouldn't be that hard now that I think about it. They'd be like frozen, but they'd just be like frozen.
Right, but very much like what Doc Brown says in the movie. If you're going to time travel, why not do it with, you know, a little bit of style? And so I'm glad they kind of went that route because it adds some fun to it as well, which I think what makes the movie so great. You know, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but also like in a time travel sense, you know, I think it's one of the ones that is one of the more thought out continuity things, and With there are some holes. There are some holes with it, but not many. Not nearly as many as others, like Terminator or things like that. This is actually one of the most steady time travel stories. Like one of my favorite examples in it is during when he goes to the mall. It's Twin Pines Mall. It's where Doc asks to meet Marty at like 1 a.m. And then when he travels back in time to escape the Libyans, he runs over the farmer's one of his pines, and now instead of Twin Pines Ranch, it becomes there's only one pine tree that lives. And so when you go back in time at the end of the film, it's actually Lone Pine Mall instead of Twin Pines Mall. And
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
Yeah, so go back and check it out. It's actually it's pretty cool, and there's a bunch of little subtle details like that within the film. But that's one I definitely missed the first time around. And then when you see it, it's like, whoa, that's so smart. He ran over the tree, and so now there's only one tree in the title of the mall. Yeah, that's right, Old Man Peabody. That's what it is, Old Man Peabody. Yeah. But I thought it was really neat because I mean, other movies tend to kind of get time travel just a little bit goofy, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And then what else? Oh, okay. So, kind of in the movie as well, you know, Marty takes back a like he travels back with like a cassette player or things like of the time. So if you were to, let's say, travel back with something from our time, like let's say we were Back to the Future was taking place for the first time in 2017. If you had something on your person or like in your bag, like what do you think that would be? I mean, obviously I think most of us would say smartphones, but I mean, how do you
There
think?
was no internet at the time, I'm sure.
Yes. So I mean, if you went back though, I mean, what do you think you would have with you if you were to end up like in the 50s?
Oh wow.
Some kind of food that wasn't there in the 50s.
Yeah. You would kind of think like Doc Brown in the second movie where he packs all cotton underwear because he's allergic to all synthetics.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Or like something to do, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like
a board game.
Yeah, like a board game. Just play a board game with yourself.
Don't mind me.
Maybe like my headphones.
One thing I thought about
Of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like a microwave.
A microwave?
Yeah, just blow their minds.
Yeah, completely.
This thing's going to be amazing. All right, so I guess we'll just kind of get into like a generic, since I've kind of gushed about the movie a little bit. So, so Ruby, we'll have you go first on this one. So overall of the film, what did you think? What did you think of Back to the Future?
Honestly, the first time I saw it, I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Okay.
I mean, the second time around, this is obviously not my second time around. It's probably around the fifth, but the second time around, I liked it a lot more, and I think that's probably more than anything because the first time I watched it, I was only really watching it because I wanted to get through, because it'd been a movie that'd been like spoken about so much, and like everyone's talking about how super duper great it is, and
because it is,
and just ranting about that. But then the second time I went in, because I already knew what the movie was about, I actually and what actually happened, I think that's why I probably liked it a lot more.
Sure. What about it made you enjoy it so much? What stood out to you? Like what made and honestly too, what kind of turned your opinion around? Like what made it like turn that corner for you?
Well, like I said, one of the big thing that made it the big thing that stood out to me is how quickly everything went wrong.
Oh yeah.
How quickly things just went terrible.
Right. Like the like traveling back, no
It-
plutonium, nothing works,
Right.
stranded outside of town. You got to walk like
Yeah.
15 miles just to get to town.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows who
No.
you are. You're in shock. Doc Brown doesn't even really fully know who you are.
Right. Um, and I think, and I think honestly, that's also what changed it for me
Mhm.
because I- when you're watching it the first time, the first time I saw it, I was just expecting a super duper good movie
Mhm.
because you know it's been talked about so much, but but once you kind of actually already know what's going on,
Mhm.
you can actually look through and learn to actually appreciate it for what it is
Very cool.
rather than how it's been talked about.
Right. So for you, it's more so you kind of started to appreciate it more so for its, I guess, its cultural significance more so
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
but it didn't like become one of those, pantheon movies. Like, yes, this
Right.
is, fantastic to me. But
Right.
so like you liked it, but you didn't love it.
It
I
wasn't
guess.
like the greatest thing I'd ever seen.
Sure. And
type-
honestly, too, if you didn't like it at all, you're not gonna offend me at all. I mean, people are very
No,
much
no,
entitled to their
I
own
do
opinions.
like it.
Yeah.
I do like it. It's just not the greatest one I've ever seen.
Gotcha. So we'll go to Panda. So Panda, what did you think of Back to the Future? What do you think of Back to the Future as a movie?
The first time I saw it, I thought it was amazing. I was still young, so that awe from just watching the movie and the total time traveling concept just really like blows your mind. And when you're small, but rewatching it again, like a few days ago, you see so many things that you just didn't notice before,
Mm-hmm.
and they are not like bad things, but there was like, wow, this actually got into this movie.
Such as.
The whole scene like with his mom and the bully when they were in the car and she's like basically raped most
Yeah.
like
Being
it's like
groped and having definitely unwanted attention.
exactly it's
Mhm.
like wow, this actually got into like this movie that is just like known from everyone, like everyone has seen this movie, and
Right.
it's like made itself part of like pop culture. Like if you look at some Disney movies, it's the same thing. It's like some of those things that are in these movies now that you didn't notice when you're kids, when you watch them as an adult, it has a completely different meaning.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell
Absolutely.
you about
Or
Disney movies.
yeah, or they show it to you in a different sense. And so it's one of the I agree. I'm very much on the same page with you. I think it is very unique that they actually kind of showed it to you to the degree that they could, that something very bad was happening, but also it served as a good milestone for George, for Marty's father, to overcome a definite social wrong and actually stand up to Biff.
Yep, exactly. And I think that's one of the things that made it such a great movie for our generation. It's like the theme of having self-confidence and being able to stand up for yourself. It's like something that you see in our generation now, and it's something a lot of people struggle with, and that's what made it so great, I believe. That this is why people has identify so much with this movie, because they see themselves as Marty McFly, as George, as his father, and they see themselves there, and that's why I think they attach themselves so much to this movie. Because if you look at the movie, it's nothing out of the ordinary for a movie. It's a great movie. It's just people identify themselves with the movie, and that's what makes it great.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
So S. Jones, what did you think of Back to the Future?
I think it's great. I don't know how to I think it was, for the time that it came out, it was super creative, well done. Just being able to like say, okay, well, there's this, and like kind of look forward in the future, and they didn't really get that many things wrong, really.
Right.
Like, there's still like that one film franchise that has a million,
Like
million and one
derivatives.
sequels,
Right.
and then we basically have a type of hoverboard now, and just
Yeah.
Right.
stuff like that.
Fish
That's
word.
just kind of
Right. But that was more so
come
in
back
part
around.
2.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
it. Rob.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But so I
okay.
guess you were talking about, so Estrans, you were talking about the music. Like that's something that you really identified with. What did you think of the score? You know, it's scored by Alan Silvestri. You know, one of the best composers that's still alive and still makes fantastic music. I mean, off the top of my head, I know he did the Avengers soundtrack. So I mean, he's got a very iconic
did that?
sound. He did. Great composer. So what? Going into the music as well, S. Jones, kind of talk to me about what you liked about the score, as well as, you know, the other music that's in the film as well.
I mean, other than like the ambience of like having the 50s, so it has like all the older songs playing that you would find like on an oldies channel now. Like it, adds to the atmosphere. But like the actual score, like I was saying when you were starting, we were all on mute. I'm like, the main theme. It just gets me so hyped because it's just so. It like puts you in that frame of mind. Like, yeah, big things are coming and happening, and it's it invokes a lot of emotion. And then any like movie score that can like do that, where you just listen to it and like you automatically have that
Energy.
emotion and energy
Right.
that's tied to it. Like it's fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
And there's
no other
like
way around it.
Right. And there's like a theme with it too. Like, you know that theme. Like when you hear it, you know that it's Back to the Future without a doubt. You know, because there's some films with their music, it's not necessarily like it's bad or performed poorly, but it doesn't have like a hook. Whereas Back to the Future has like a real hook to the song. Like it's got just a great sound. And it's almost, kind of like Indiana Jones or Star Wars, like the Imperial March or, the Rebel sound or the Rebel track. I mean, it has a very distinct, rhythm and sound to it. And I agree too. I liked the 50s and even the 80s stuff too. It's great. It's awesome. Even though, I mean, obviously we're not in the 80s. So, I mean, when the movie came out, it was very much of its time. So,
yeah.
Well, yeah, and going back to, I obviously now that I realize had my whole conversation all set up for like the second movie, like a silly.
That's okay. We'll get to it. We'll get to it another time.
For being the 80s and when it came out, it was still like well done, and how they were able to like stick things in like creatively, as far as like, well. And you have some of like the stereotypical thing, like everybody was scared of like aliens, back when, and all that stuff happened, which coincidentally, I think today is like the anniversary of when H.G. Wells, I think it was H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds played over the radio.
Yes, very much so.
And how like that pandemonium came just from listening to the radio and created such a havoc about aliens. And you go back and everybody thinks he's a space guy.
Right, and
when
like the kid,
and then he uses it against his dad to get him to do what he needs to do. So
right, like what's great too is he uses like pop culture of that time to mess with him. He calls himself. He says he's Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan, which I think would make a lot of Trekkies or Star Wars people kind of vomit a little bit. But at the same time, it's hilarious, and he plays like Van Halen to freak him out.
Darth Vader wouldn't have been there at the time that he said it, so he wouldn't know who Darth Vader was, if you really think about it. Because
you mean like wasn't there in the 80s?
No, when he said it, he was in the 50s.
Correct.
Star Wars came out in the 60s.
He came from the 80s, which already had Darth Vader.
Yeah, but that's a good point. That's a bit of a flaw. It's like as he would grow up, George probably saw Star Wars. He was a sci-fi buff. And I bet he saw Star Wars. Kind of makes you wonder, like, what
okay.
you, what? You know, kind of like a moment like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's like at least another 20 years in the future from the 50s, though. So that'd have to be like something that really stuck out in his mind, which I believe it would. But at the same, like,
but yeah, and
I don't know.
I agree, and also too with also just kind of like, you know, seeing the change with everything as well, with like with, you know, going from what his life was like in the 80s before going back, and then life after going back. You know, the ripple effects of time travel and mildly altering the past, even though Doc Brown told him, like, you know, you don't talk to anybody, don't do anything, because this could unravel everything. You know, this could just end existence. But, you know,
in his defense,
yeah,
he did land in the street and nearly get killed.
Very true. Right. But it's one of those things, though, that's I love, though, that eventually, because, you know, Marty writes the note letting Doc know, like, hey, the night that you go back, you're going to get shot. And I love the fact that, you know, Doc kind of thinks probably like what most of us would think. You know, what the hell? Why not? Well, I mean, if you read the letter, why not try to keep yourself alive? You know, he definitely says, you know, no one should never know too much of their own destiny. But at the same time, we would all want to kind of peek behind the curtain a little bit. Like saying, hey, you want to know what's going to happen to you? You know, it's like,
I mean, you're going to die eventually anyway.
Right. You're going to find out eventually. I mean, you're going to find out how you're going to die. But you kind of want to know as well, you know, what's going to happen to me? You know, how am I going to die? And so I always found that to be kind of like a cool thing Doc does, you know, when he gets shot, when Marty goes back to try to catch him in time, because he sees Doc tear up the letter before he travels back in time. And when he opens it up, and, you know, he's just sitting there with a big smile on his face, and you're just so excited that, you know, Doc made it. He did it. He made it.
Yeah. You can see a little bit of foreshadowing when he was first going to go to the future before the Libyans came, that he was going to go into the future and look at who won the World Series and stuff, so he can place bets and stuff. So it's like he wants to know about the future. I think that probably like changed his mind from when he was in the 50s to when he was in the 80s. I think that was something that changed in him, because the Doc Brown in the 50s would never go into the future to learn about these things. But the one in the 80s did want to.
Right, exactly. And so it's very interesting, too. Yeah, you see, it's the same man. It's the same Doc, but you have pre-time travel Doc and Doc where he is aware of time travel and kind of has a little bit of knowledge gained now from seeing it before he even invented it, and then seeing, okay, this actually turned out all right. So maybe I can go see some things. But still, he kind of errs on that side of caution, though. You know, don't change too much.
He is also going to the future, so he can't really change anything there.
Right.
Yeah. But he still is using it to his own advantage, like going into the future.
Right.
Wait. That makes me think something.
Yes.
What would have happened if, like, someone had gone back to the day they were born and, like, killed them as a baby? Would they, like, what kind of paradox would that create?
I think you just talked about Terminator there.
Right? I mean, yeah, that's like a Terminator style problem. But I think what would happen, I mean, I remember seeing this in an episode of Family Guy where Stewie creates this like interdimensional he creates a time travel pad. I mean, and so what he does is he tries to go all the way, he keeps like pushing a button and it fritzes out, and so they go back to before the universe existed. And then to get back, I mean, they existed like beyond time, beyond the laws of physics. And so to get back, they had to create like an explosion with the like his little pad or whatever. And then when he gets back, it, you know, they're back to normal. Everything's okay. But Stewie's able to there is like a map of something you could check out where it's like, like a heat map is kind of what it looks like, but it shows like, you know, a known map of the universe. But you could see like it's a distinct kind of wave from like the center and out to what we perceive to be the end of the universe. And the theory is that, you know, that it's expanding or whatever. And then so Stewie shows like, you know, the explosion
One
of
moment,
that.
please.
Sure. He shows like the explosion for that, and then also his other thing. And so then you're able to see that, you know, he wouldn't have existed without, you know, being born in the universe, but he also kind of created the universe by doing it. So maybe if you were to go back in time, you would, if you did kill yourself, I think you would maybe just create a cyclical loop. Like you would maybe create like a time tangent or something like that. Would kind of be my best
Wasn't
guess.
there like a show that did that? That this guy went back in past and he actually found out that he was his own grandfather. I forgot what show it was. Oh my gosh.
I want to say so too, but I don't recall.
All right, I'm back.
All right. But yeah, another thing that I always thought was kind of cool with this movie too is like, even though we all know that, you know, Michael J. Fox is Marty McFly, but he actually wasn't even the original Marty McFly. Eric Stoltz actually was the first person that did it, and they actually had shot like a good chunk of the film before they cast Michael J. Fox. And I always thought that to be kind of like a very bizarre little tidbit and fact about it, because he wasn't even supposed to be in it, because I think at the time Michael J. Fox was on Family Ties, and so he had, you know, business conflicts and time conflicts and stuff like that, and so he wasn't able to, you know, do the filming. But then Robert Zemeckis, the director, was like, you know, I really would like to have Michael, you know, it just isn't working with Eric. It's just the movie isn't right. And so they, you know, brought him in and reshot everything with Eric, and then would take Michael to his Family Ties shoots in the morning and then bring him out to the film shoots. And it was always the most bizarre thing. It's like, I don't know how this kid died or did not die from just overworking himself to death. But yeah, I have enjoyed this movie though. I do think it is super wonderful, and again, I think part of what kind of like transcends it to being, you know, just from an okay movie to a great movie is that, you know, it's got so much going for it. You know, it's got romance, it's got sci-fi, it's got comedy, it's got action, it's got, you know, a cool soundtrack. It's all just got everything kind of mixed in into one, which I think is great. And I think it's a fantastic film. And yeah, so if you guys have any other final thoughts on Back to the Future?
Nah, I'm good.
Nah, I'm good. That's it. What about you, S. Jones? Any final thoughts?
I much prefer the first girlfriend they had instead of changing actresses for the second movie.
I agree. The original Jennifer Parker to me is Jennifer Parker. Parts 2 and 3, it's like, I don't know who this stranger is. Take her away.
She died after the first movie.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oops.
I don't know. I think if they ever remade the movie, there's a whole lot they wouldn't put in there, just because there's a lot of things that are like really political correct now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing too. Like, do you think if this movie were made today, do you think it could? Like, do you think this would even happen? You know, a young high schooler hanging out with an old man?
No. I don't think it would even be the same.
Yeah,
I thought that was really creepy.
Right? Back then when you see it for the first time, like, you don't think so. I mean, I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I mean, like, I always thought, like, oh, Duck's, like, basically his grandpa. Like a cool, like, everyone has that cool family member.
Yeah. That's kind of how I saw it as well. You know, I saw him as, like, an uncle or, like just a cool dude in the neighborhood. But even then, like, today, like, that would never happen. Parents today would never let their kids go hang out with this strange old man who has a lot of money that tinkers in his garage.
That would not fly today.
If that movie came out today with how they portrayed the terrorists now, things would be up in flames.
Right?
There'd be no way that movie would garner
No.
any
Right?
positive traction in the world today if it came out and portrayed that scene like that with those characters.
I still
Not
think
a chance.
No.
it would be pretty funny though if you did fool a terrorist group in making a bomb for them, but just sent it as an empty bomb casing with pinball parts. I think that'd be a great joke.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we'll build this bomb for you, aka send you a bunch of fun if you put this thing together. You have a pinball machine. You're welcome. Be happy.
Yeah. I don't think it would be just the same movie at all.
No,
It wouldn't be.
if this movie would
No.
come out today, it would probably be like rated R or something, rated M, something like that. But yeah, it probably would not fly.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I don't think this movie could exist at the time. Like, it came out at the right time. You know, before, you know, an issue like that would make, like an issue like, you know, a kid hanging out with a strange adult, definitely an older man. But also, too, like, right on the cusp of, like, you know, sci-fi kind of becoming a more, you know, more widely accepted thing. You know, we talked, you know, some of us have been watching Stranger Things, and, you know, around the 80s as well is kind of, you know, when sci-fi and more nerd culture isn't quite to the status that it is today, where it's, you know, very much more widely accepted. But at the same time, it was kind of right at the beginning, and it kind of, I think, gave, you know, the right push to kind of, you know, make that kind of idea appealing and fun and something that's, you know, worth watching. You know, I mean, you're just seeing this cool car doing this cool time travel thing, but when you start to talk about it, you start to get people having, you know, discussions like we had, like, what would happen if you went back in time? What would you do? Would you do anything? And I think that's a sign of a great film that, you know, kind of, one, you had fun watching, but also kind of spurs, you know, a lot of what if conversations, or the movie doesn't stop because the credits rolled. It left the theater with you. And I think that's what makes it fun. And to me, that's what's kind of kept the staying power. There's so much you could talk about with it.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's part of the reasons why I've liked it, and I wanted to talk about that one as our first AV club. So kind of in closing, you know, this is, you know, obviously our first one. We're kind of still kind of getting our legs under us, so to speak. I'm still kind of on the fence of what we're going to do for our film for November. I'm kind of going back and forth on whether we want to do one that's been out already. I already have like a short list, but I've also debated maybe doing like Thor Ragnarok or something like that, where it'll be a little bit of a newer film, and we can kind of digest that as well if we'd like. But everyone that kind of tuned in for this part of the stream, I appreciate you coming by to hang out. And I guess we'll kind of go around one more time, and we'll go to S. Jones and Ruby and then Panda. If you guys can just, you know, give your names and where, if, you know, if people want to check you out or hang out with you, where they can find you on the internet, whether that be Twitter or Discord, or if you stream as well, you know, feel free to drop your you know, your channel link and all that. So yeah, S. Jones, where can we find you on the internet?
Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh no.
You cannot
I
not
don't
find me on the
stream,
internet.
So I don't stream. I'm usually just hanging out in the Discord or on Twitter. My Twitter name is Lizzie Lee Rose, LIZZIE LEEORSE.
And Ruby, if people wanted to find more about you or hang out with you or get to know you more, where would they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Twitter. If I
It's
can
okay.
speak, they can find me on Twitter at RubyDragonN.
Good deal. And Pandasaurus, where can we find you on the internet?
You really shouldn't, but you can find me on Twitter, Pandasaurus115 or eNice. I believe you can look up both and you'll find me. I do stream sometimes, so if you want to see me stream, probably not that interesting, but yeah, sure.
You guys should totally check him out. He's awesome.
A lot of Destiny.
Yes. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, guys, I thank you all so much for coming to hang out today. I appreciate it. As I was saying too, the next one will be next month. The date is to be determined, so just keep your eyes peeled on Discord, and we will kind of maybe do a poll or something like that, whether we want to do an old film or a new film. We'll kind of maybe decide that as a group. And then if you are a sub, I'll put that in the sub section for our sign up sheet to get people involved to see if they want to check that out. Obviously, this is the first show, so, you know, a little bit of growing pains, still trying to figure out the format and things like that. But thank you so much for checking something new with me. And I think it's hopefully something that'll become a fun monthly thing. And we'll, you know, check it out each month. And if you have some feedback, there is a suggestions section in Discord. If you could post there what you think about the show, what we could do differently, maybe different flow options or different suggestions. Love to hear your feedback. I'm going to export this and save it later. So if you'd like to check it out, you're more than welcome to. And now we're going to get into Alien Isolation, our spooky stream for October. So we're going to check that out. So again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out for our first ever AV Club. And thanks for humoring me on it. I wanted to try something new. I wanted to, you know, bring something new to the channel. And yes, thank you so much. Exactly, S. Jones. Thank you for joining us on the Hill Valley AV Club, our very first meeting. So thank you so much. And we'll definitely get into some more stuff for sure and talk about more films and more movies. And so, again, definitely leave some feedback. Or if you'd like to, if you follow me on Twitter, I do have an email address on there. Definitely feel free to send me an email. You know, type in the subject line AV Club feedback and let me know what you think, honestly. I would love, you know, some, you know, honest feedback, and just let me know what you think. So now I'm going to take a quick little itty-bitty break. I got to use the restroom and get myself a glass of water, and I will be right back. We're going to start up with Alien Isolation. So thank you so much, guys. I will see you in a few moments.